The day began like any other, but the world was about to witness a chain of events so wild, so terrifying, it would leave everyone questioning the limits of courage, loyalty, and sheer instinct. At the heart of it all, an unlikely Heroa-devoted cat dad was about to face a danger that no ordinary person would ever imagine. The sun had barely risen, painting the sky with streaks of gold and crimson, when a frantic call shattered the morning calm. News of a gorilla being held hostage in a remote research facility had reached the local authorities, but the situation was spiraling out of control. Panic rippled through the airwaves, whispers of a desperate scenario spreading faster than fire in dry grass. And there, in the midst of it, stood the cat dad, not armed with a gun, not trained for hostage crises, but guided by a heart that refused to ignore suffering. He had always been a man of quiet routines, his days revolving around his small apartment. The soft purrs and playful antics of his beloved feline companions his only constants. But today, something primal stirred inside. Hema, magnetic, pulled toward danger, toward the impossible. The gorilla, known for its intelligence and gentleness, had been seized by a ruthless group who demanded an outrageous ransom. The world watched helplessly as the media painted the facility as an impenetrable fortress guarded by armed men in high-tech security. Yet, the cat dad knew something they didn't. He understood instinct, trust, and the subtle ways of animals. With a backpack slung over his shoulder, containing nothing more than a few essentials and a bundle of courage, he arrived at the facility's perimeter. His heart pounded like a drum, each beat echoing the stakes he faced. Beyond the gates, the gorilla paced in a cage, eyes reflecting fear and confusion. He could feel the tension in the air, the quiet hum of surveillance cameras, the distant shuffle of guards. But the cat dad's focus was unshakable. He studied the patterns of movement, the predictable lapses of attention, and he formulated a plan that relied not on brute force, but on wit, empathy, and an uncanny connection to living beings both human and animal. He crept through shadows, avoiding senses with the precision of someone who had spent countless nights observing his own cat slip silently through narrow gaps. Every step brought him closer to the cage, and every step magnified the stakes. One misstep, one misjudged shadow, and the entire mission could end before it began. But he pressed forward, guided by a bond that transcended species, a promise he had never made out loud but felt deeply in his soul. To save the innocent from suffering, no matter the cost. As he reached the cage, the gorilla froze, sensing a presence that was different from the armed men who usually loomed over it. The cat dad spoke softly, his voice calm but commanding, words carrying a strange melody that seemed to soothe the beast. For a moment, time held its breath. The gorilla hesitated, then slowly moved toward him, its eyes locking with his. It was an unspoken agreement, a mutual recognition of trust. The cat dad reached into his bag, pulling out a small package of fruits, the gorilla's favorite treat. Step by step, they bridged the gap between captivity and freedom. Meanwhile, alarms began to blare in distant corridors. The kidnappers, realizing that something was amiss, guards scrambled, doors locked, and security protocols activated. Every second became a heartbeat of tension. The cat dad's mind raced, calculating, improvising, adapting. He couldn't afford fear, and he couldn't afford hesitation. With deft movements, he guided the gorilla through hidden corridors, each twist and turn a test of nerve and skill. Their escape was a dance against time, a delicate balance of silence and motion, strategy and instinct. Outside, the world held its breath as sirens wailed and helicopters circled. The cat dad and the gorilla emerged from the shadows, blending into the chaos, slipping past obstacles that seemed insurmountable. Onlookers, first in disbelief and then in awe, witnessed the improbable pair move with an unbreakable rhythm, a testament to courage and the bonds that transcend fear. Children pointed, cameras clicked, and hearts raced in unison with theirs. As they reached safety, the gorilla paused, turning back as if to acknowledge the man who had risked everything. There was a moment of pure, unspoken gratitude, a connection that no words could ever capture. And then, just as suddenly, the world shifted back into motion. Emergency responders arrived. Journalists swarmed, and the story exploded across headlines. Cat dad saves gorilla from hostage crisis. But behind the sensational news, beyond the viral clips and social media buzz, was a deeper truth. This was more than a rescue. It was a demonstration of bravery, intuition, and the extraordinary things that can happen when someone refuses to ignore the cries of the vulnerable. The cat dad returned home that night, exhausted but unbroken, his cats curling around him as if sensing the magnitude of his journey. He had faced fear, defied danger, and emerged victorious. And in the heart of the gorilla, now safely relocated to a sanctuary, lingered the memory of trust, courage, and the strange, unshakable bond formed with a man who had nothing but determination and love to guide him. What had started as an ordinary day became an extraordinary tale of heroism, and the world would never forget it. A cat dad, ordinary in appearance, extraordinary in courage, had reminded humanity of a simple yet profound truth. Bravery isn't measured by the weapons you carry or the power you wield. It is measured by the heart that dares to act when every instinct screams to flee. Every step of the dare and rescue, every breath held in tense corridors, every flicker of understanding between man and gorilla created a story that would be recounted for generations. It was a story of suspense, unpredictability, an awe-inspiring courage, a story that proved that heroes come in unexpected forms. And sometimes, saving a life requires nothing more than a fearless heart, unwavering focus, and the willingness to leap into the unknown when it matters most. By the time the night fell completely, the city was silent again, yet the echoes of the day's drama lingered. Social media was ablaze, journalists struggled to keep up, and the gorilla, now free from chains and fear, finally breathed deeply, a creature liberated by empathy, ingenuity, and relentless determination. And somewhere in a quiet apartment, a man stroked his cat, knowing that even in the ordinary, extraordinary courage can be found, and that sometimes the most unlikely heroes, right? The most unforgettable stories. The world would retell this tale endlessly, the daring rescue etched into the collective memory of anyone who dared to believe that courage has no boundaries, that bonds can be forged across species, and that one determined individual can change the course of a life or even a species. And as the stars shimmered above, the cat dad closed his eyes, weary but triumphant, ready to face another day. Knowing that the line between ordinary and heroism is thinner than anyone could imagine, and sometimes it's drawn in the quiet, persistent heartbeat of someone who refuses to abandon hope. The story didn't just end with a rescue, it began a legend of loyalty, daring, and the extraordinary lengths one man would go to protect the innocent. Headlines might fade, clips might be forgotten, but the essence of that day, the suspense, the terror, the triumph would endure forever, inspiring countless others to recognize that true heroism is not a title, but a choice. Made in moments when fear threatens to paralyze and courage demands action. Every heartbeat, every careful step through shadows, every gesture of trust between man and gorilla was a testament to the impossible becoming reality. The world witnessed it, cheered it, and learned from it. That courage is contagious. Bravery is teachable, and sometimes the quietest hearts harbored the loudest acts of heroism. And so, the cat dad's name would be whispered in awe, his story a viral phenomenon, but more importantly, a timeless reminder. When ordinary hearts embrace extraordinary challenges, the world can be changed in ways that echo far beyond a single day, far beyond a single rescue, and far beyond anyone's expectation of what one person and one cat dad can achieve.